Okay.
Yeah, so I'll record it. And if we talk about other things other than trading, we'll just, who cares? Cut it out if I have to. But, so with Trend Trader, the new update has basically two new features. One is the time parameters, which, as I was saying, it's been in my head to do that for a long time. A lot of different features are, but sometimes I have these incredible ideas, and it takes me a long time to get my coding ability up to scratch so that I can implement them. And then it takes a lot of time. And as you can see, you pull your hair out trying to work out this coding stuff. And then when you test it out, it really doesn't improve it at all. So it's a bit depressing when that happens. But sometimes, like with the time parameters, it makes a marked improvement, and it's all been worthwhile. So so that's one of the features of the new version. And what it is essentially it just limits when the EA can actually trade. So anybody that's involved in trading would generally understand that, our night time here in Australia, which is the London and New York sessions, there tends to be a lot more movement in the markets, and it's more consistent sort of sure movement in the right direction, whereas Asia isn't as much movement and it's a bit more all over the place. So the idea was to limit the EA so it could just sort of, you can input whatever time you want, when it's going to start, when it's going to stop. But the main idea was to let it trade the London and New York session, give or take, and to see if that made a difference. And it made, a very significant difference. On all, well, I haven't been through and made optimized settings for all the pairs yet, but on all the ones I've played with, it's not only improved, but on all but one of the pairs, it's improved the profit margin. And on most of those, it's significantly improved the profit margin. One of them was just slightly down, but even on the one that was slightly down in profit, but it only had half the drawdown. So essentially a much, much better strategy anyway. So I think there's no real, I just posted on the Facebook page, and I'll put a link to it in the Telegram channel, the info and results Telegram channel. I think it was pictures of 5 different backtesting, 5 different pairs that I just backtested over the weekend, and you can see the difference. So like, I'm just trying to remember. I was going to do a comparison, but I haven't done it yet. I remember when we first brought out Trend Trader, and one of the best pairs was pound yen. And over a 6-month period, it took out, I think it was 32 trades, and it was only a couple of losses, 1 or 2 losses. So that was good. It was great still. But the profit for that 6 months, and I'm half guessing here because I don't quite remember, but it was around about 10 to 12% for 6 months. One of them was it might have been 13% for 6 months. So now, let me just bring up my little picture on my phone so that I know I'm not lying to you. One. So let me find it. It won't be long. There it is. So now, this is just back testing over 3.25 months, because the reason I used to always do it over 6 months, but I wanted to do the recent back testing without having any of the Christmas New Year period in the way, because that really affects results. You get a lot more days off when the market's totally closed, and a lot of days where there's not much movement in the market because not many people are trading. So just for 3.25 months, like pound USD, it made 17. This is all using 1% risk per trade. So pound US is 17% profit. And remember before I was saying 13% over 6 months. This is 17% for 3 months. AUD CHF is 19% for 3 months. NAS 100's 20%. Euro Yen's 7%, but or it's 7.7%, but it only has 1.2% drawdown. So it's, comparative with the drawdown, it's still exceptionally good. US 30's 22%, Euro USD 16%, and gold was 9%, but or 8.5%, but only 2% drawdown. So those that have been paying attention, they'll be able to see that that's that's definitely the most significant improvement I've made to it. I think this will be like the 8th or 9th update I've made in the last sort of 3.5 months since I first brought it out, and it's by far the most significant, I would think. So trading's trading, of course, but I don't see any reason why we won't see an improvement. When the back testing results are, on some of the pairs literally twice as good, it's even in real, that's only back testing, of course, but in real world trading, doubling your results can only, if the back testing's twice as good, the real results have got to be better as well.
Well, trying to say, Les, this has just been back tested over a 12-week period, which is pretty bloody good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 13 weeks sort of thing, but so the time parameter settings. My idea was to have it just trade London, New York, because I've seen other EAs that do that. And, I wanted to try it. As I said, there's a lot of things I want to try, but it takes me a while to work out how to actually code it. And then when I do try them, sometimes they don't make any improvement. So shrug your shoulders and have another run. Hey, Des, and get on with it. But, so that's the main update. I've also put a trailing stop loss into the mix as well.
Thank you, that's been a big improvement.
Yeah, well, you might have to share some of your results because I can't really get much more by using. On some of the pairs, I'm getting a little bit more using the trailing stop loss as well, but not a great deal of difference, really.
I had quite an improvement on the little bit of testing I've done, but I'll carry on testing.
Yeah, no worries. Make sure though, always tell me when you find something exciting with your back testing.
Liz.
Otherwise, we won't be friends anymore.
Liz,
what's that, Barry?
No, you've got the setting right for US dollar, Euro US dollar, I think. That's the only one I've tested so far.
Yeah. What's that, Barry?
Yeah, so with the London, New York session, what time it'll turn on at the beginning of it? What time does it turn off at the end of the session?
No, each pair is different. That's what I was about to say. Was the idea was to basically make it trade London, New York, but I've also back tested all the different times and to find exactly which times average better than other times. So we get rid of the times that average poorly, and sometimes some of the back testing, it's allowed me to use more results, have quicker. Like I've sort of tightened up the take profit and stop losses on a lot of pairs as well. So some of the pairs where we were aiming for, like 180 pip profit, I'm now only aiming for 70 pips of profit. But I've got a stop loss of only 10 pips. So on a couple of the Forex pairs, I've got a 10 pip stop loss and a 70 pip take profit. So it's much much tighter. The trades are going to play out a lot quicker. But that's also one of the pairs has which one's that? The AUD CHF. It has a 1:8 risk to reward ratio, and pound USD's got 1:7 as well. They're the two main ones there. I haven't checked yet though, but because it's such a tight stop loss, to risk the same amount, so to risk 1% per trade, we're using a much larger lot size. So potentially those particular settings with the really tight stop loss may not work on a 30-to-1 leverage account. So if you're using a 30-to-1 leveraged account, you might just want to, you know, keep an eye on what your margin's doing and everything there and see. You know, we can still use some of the old settings, are still fine, but you know, just those ones with that really tight stop loss may not suit the lower leverage accounts. But yeah, so get back to your question, Barry. As you can imagine, you know, some currencies like yen, like the Australian dollar, most of those currencies get traded during the Asian session because that's when you know, Tokyo's open, and that's when, you know, Sydney's open, you know, during the Asian session. So depending on the pairs, it's not always the London-New York session that performs better. And my back testing with different time parameters sort of really proven that. So a couple of them, or one of them in particular, you'll see the settings mostly trade the Asian session, and it was much better result than trading the London-New York. But anyway, and so it's just like any of the other settings. I've just done a hell of a lot of back testing to work out, you know, average out over time, exactly what time period was performing better.
And so when the London and New York sessions closed off for the day, the robot still manages the trades that are open, though it's off.
Yes. So the EA is still on all the time, but it has a new little parameter inside it before it can place a trade. So it has to be within the time parameters and everything else as well before it can place a trade. So let's say it's just trading London, New York. It can open up a trade during the London, New York session. After those sessions, the EA will be still on. It'll still manage the trades that are already open, but it won't be able to open anymore until we get around until London opens again.
With those tighter stop losses, is there any change to the entry criteria?
No new entry criteria. We've still got the selection, you know, the 0, 1, 2, and 3 entry options. Most of them though are just back to the now, like that previous update. We had, you know, entry 0s, 1, 2s, and 3s. I don't. Out of the ones I've just done now, the vast majority of them are back to just the old entry type 0, which was the original. And that was simply because I was able to, with the time parameters, if I just let it run 24 hours a day on those settings, on the new settings, it's nowhere near as good as what it used to be. But if I put the time parameters in, it gets rid of all the losses and keeps, you know, gets rid of a lot of losses, but keeps the majority of the profits. So, you know, so you end up with more, you know, less losing trades, but just as many profitable trades. That's how it sort of works out better.
Yep.
And I tell you right now, and even though it's become very, very evident just looking at the results over time, let me just share my screen just for a quick minute. Gotta press the share button then.
Hi, Susan.
So let me get that out of the way. So that's the strategy testing results. This one's pound US. It's still on the 15-minute time frame, so it doesn't have a lot of trades. It only has 17 trades and 7 losses. Only little losses. This one's got the 1 to 7 risk to reward, so it takes a lot of little losses, but has a couple of really big wins. So that's that's good. Still worked out fine. It's still up around, what do we end up making? 17% profit over 3 months. So that's still good. And only, where's the drawdown? So this one has 6% drawdown. So this isn't one of my favorite ones at the moment. Although the profits are really good, there's a little bit more drawdown involved. But pound US, even on all the older settings, it was also one that potentially had more drawdown because it had a tight stop loss. It's just tighter now. What's the other ones I've got here? All right, so this is, I wanted to sort of, what's this one? That's gold. All right, we'll compare these two. So we just have like a lot of little losses, you know, not huge loss at any stage. It gets down to about 4% down, and then you have some big wins, and then you sort of just tiny profits, and then big wins, and then just tiny profits and little losses. So there's, even though it works out well, this is sort of hinged on a couple of really big profits, which, you know, if I was to miss these two trades, it wouldn't be very good at all. Whereas this one here, which is US 30, it's making good profit as well, more profit actually, 22% and only 3% drawdown. But you can see how it's just consistent profit all the way through, you know, so you have wins, losses, win, loss. But it's a nice steady profit the whole 3 months, whereas the other one was sort of nothing, big profit, nothing, big profit. So my point is this, what we're looking at here on US 30 is much preferable to having this as a result. Even if the profit's the same, this could more easily fall apart just by missing a couple of trades. Whereas this one, even if I got rid of this trade, which is the biggest one, and this one here, which is maybe the second biggest one, if I got rid of those two, it's still bloody good. But this one, if I got rid of the two best ones, it's not so good.
Excuse me, Les.
Yeah.
Is this back testing now with the new time parameters?
It is, yes.
Right, okay.
And so gold's sort of in the middle, you know, this is sort of profit. It gets up to about 2% profit here. So all of these trades are profitable ones, just little ones though. And then we have a loss and then just little profits all the way through here. So I don't mind this one. These are decent results, but this one's gold. But some of the Forex pairs are exactly the same from the 9th of January, which is the start of the back testing, right through until like the middle of March. There's very little movement. So these are all just hitting the first profit locks and 1 second profit lock, you know. So that means the market's never pushed right through very far one direction or another. And in a few of the Forex forums, I mean, you know, they've been talking about, and your brokers probably sent you emails saying how there's been very little movement in the markets this year. And if you check out all the Forex pair results on Trend Trader, you can see that demonstrated. So we're only hitting first profit locks all the way through to here. And then, you know, in March and April, you know, second half of March and April, we're hitting all these full take profits because there's a lot more movement and volatility in the market. So there are a lot of my backtesting results, mostly on the Forex pairs, that look like this. Small profits for almost 2 months, and then a month of really good profits. And that's just a sign of how the market's been moving this year more than anything.
When you're saying those groups of smaller of losses, it's going to be 1% every time if that's what your risk is set at, isn't it?
Yes. So with Trend Trader, the only loss you will take is when the market goes all the way to your stop loss. So if you have your risk set at 1%, then every loss will be 1%. But what I meant was they were small losses compared to how big the profits are, because on those particular pairs, it had that 1 to 7 and 1 to 8 risk to reward. So, you know, what that means is that if you have 8 losses and then 1 win, you know, like eight trades hit stop loss and then 1 trade hit take profit, you're at break even though you've only won 1 out of 9 trades. although that's not how it plays out with Trend Trader, because we have a lot of first profit lot profits as well, which are always going to be smaller. But
So with this now, Les, what would you expect it to generate per week?
I reckon the profits are going to be that good, you'll stop asking me that question. But have a look at the results that I was just sharing. If you didn't get a good look at them, have a look in any of our Telegram chats, and that all of those results are listed there. Like if you have a look in the Word document and the pictures that show the settings, it tells you exactly what those results were. So something like that is what I'm expecting. Those results and those optimized settings are based off 1% risk. If you're trading a prop account and only running 0.5% risk, which I know you are, then the profits, you can halve the profits as well.
Yeah, but the percentage is the same though, isn't it, Les?
The percentage of profit will be half.
Yeah,
if you're only doing half.
It'd be half. Yeah, so you
half the loss, half the wins. Yep.
Yeah, with 7 of them in the mix. When you box them all together, this is what I mean. It's like that.
Yeah. Well, so let me find this picture. Share my screen again. This is the Word document I put in our community chat. So everything on a 1% risk per trade, pound US, it averaged 5.26% per month. AUD CHF, it averaged 6% per month. NAS 100, 6%. Euro Yen, it averaged 2.3% per month. US 30, 6.8% per month. Euro US, 5% per month. And gold, one more to go. Gold was 2.6% per month. So previously, a lot of the pairs were only averaging 1 or 2% per month. And now we've got quite a few pairs that are potentially earning 6% per month. So, easy double what it was making before. Although, you still got to be conscious of the drawdown, but that's mostly only an issue if you're using prop firms.
What we're saying is we could expect to sort of make between 1 to 1.5% a month. A week.
Yeah, I can't give you them promises, but
No, we're just talking, no.
So back testing results are, and especially with Trend Trader, because it's a low volume trader, back testing results, as long as you do them properly, are, in my opinion, as close to real market, results as you're going to get. 95, 98% accurate, in my opinion, with Trend Trader. Because it doesn't take out many trades, minute fluctuations in the market don't change things too much. So it's very, very accurate. And so if on Euro US, on US 30, it's the back testing says I made 22%, if I had to use those exact settings for the past 3.25 months, I'm confident that that is exactly what I would have made, give or take a little tiny bit. But I have tailored these settings to suit those conditions after the fact. So, it's not like, it's a little bit like trading, in hindsight. You know what the market did, you can tailor your settings to suit that. You can never tailor your settings to perfectly suit the next 3 months because we don't have crystal balls or anything. But the very best we can do is have the EA tailored as perfectly as possible to the most recent few months. And so because those most recent few months should be as close to the next few months as anything else. That's why I don't care about back testing results from 12 months ago, 24 months ago, because the setting, and I have done this, I've back tested years and years, but settings from years and years ago to be optimized are quite a lot different to what they need to be now because the markets do change. And like I was showing before, how the first 3 months of this month, trend traders just hitting first profit locks, so little tiny profits all the time. Still hardly any losses, but just little tiny take profits, profit locks. And then in the last sort of 5 or 6 weeks, we've been, it's hitting all these take profits. So profit's been much better, in those back testing results.
So what could we expect with the 7 pairs running there going on the back test on drawdown?
That's something I can't tell you either, because when I do the back testing, I'm just back testing one pair, and that can tell me exactly what the maximum drawdown was. What I can't do with the MT4 back tester is easily correlate all of those pairs trading at once. So I can't, most likely, if you're not trading closely correlated pairs, the drawdown on one's not going to coincide with the drawdown on another, so they won't compound the drawdown. But potentially, you could have, all the pairs have their very worst day at the same time and give you a compounded form of drawdown. Now, that's potentially possible. And that's where the risk per trade and the actual number of trades that are allowed to be taken out come into play. So because I can't tell you if all of those pairs are going to have their worst day on the same day, I don't know, but it could potentially happen. We have the risk setting. So let's say on the prop firm, we're running 0.5% risk per trade, and we're having a very maximum of 5 or 6 trades allowed to be opened at any one time, meaning that if those 5 or 6 trades all go bad at the same time, which I might add I have never ever seen happen with Trend Trader, then you would take a 2.5% or 3% loss. That's how we can minimise the loss.
Yeah, well, if you're around about that 3 to 3.5% on a prop firm account, like you're well and truly safe as a brick.
Yeah, that's not to say you can't lose, 2.5% this week and 2.5% next week, and then you're in trouble. But that's going to be the same issue you have no matter how you're trading. You can always have a bad run.
Yeah.
But at least with Trend Trader, as compared to a lot of other EAs, you can perfectly manage your drawdown without a shadow of a doubt. But who's to say you can't have a run of bad days or bad weeks? But at least you know that you're not going to, like a lot of EAs that get sold have a martingale type strategy. So they work really, really well until they don't. And that's when you lose 40 or 50% of your account or all of your account all in one go. And one of the reasons that majority of EAs that are getting sold are martingale strategies is simply because of that reason. Okay, when you use one of those martingale strategies, most likely you're going to have several months of good, consistent results. Sometimes a fair bit of drawdown as well, but you get used to that when you're using those EAs when you don't know better. But so you'll get several months of profitable months. And then all of a sudden you'll get into extra drawdown. You'll take a really big loss, or you increase your, like your equity protection setting, and you end up blowing your whole account. Now, I'm saying that from personal experience, as I know plenty of people on this call can say from personal experience. So that's where Trend Trader is different. It will never give you good results for a long time and then blow your account. It'll give you a good week, a bad week, a couple of good weeks, average week. They'll be all over the place. So, the idea obviously is that you get more good weeks than bad weeks. And, compared to a martingale strategy, which I would never ever use again, a martingale strategy EA might give you 3 months of great profit. Trend Trader in the same month might only make you half as much profit. So at that stage, the other one's looking better than Trend Trader. But then the next month, you blow your account with the martingale strategy, and Trend Trader just has another normal sort of either average or good or poor month. And it just keeps doing the same all the time. That's still no guarantee that Trend Trader will, be profitable for you for years and years on end. But, I'm fully confident that as long as we keep, improving it, of course, but also, optimizing those settings regularly, it can't help but be mostly profitable.
So the other thing now there's with Concept, with that, I know it's a few bob to get into. It's going to cost $5,000 for is it a 25K account or a 50K account?
Yeah. So
Is that allowed?
Concept's a prop firm, just for everyone that doesn't know, and they've got a new prop type account that you can purchase. Previously, their prop accounts only allowed you 5% drawdown at any time. Their new one allows 10% drawdown. The only difference is that it's a lot more expensive to purchase up front, but it gives you that more drawdown, and eventually it would definitely be worthwhile. But before you go using that one, you'd want to know that you know what you're doing, whether you know how to use Trend Trade or you know how to trade manually, whatever you're doing. You want to be more certain of how well you're going to be able to trade before you purchase a more expensive one. And that's actually, that's actually one. There's a lot of reasons why I like Concept, but another good one is, you can purchase some quite small prop accounts quite cheaply, right down to $75 for a prop account. And, for somebody without much money and not real certain of their trading profitability, that's a good way to start. If you blow one of those accounts, well, it's only $75. Whereas if you go and purchase a $200,000 account for $1,000 and you blow that, you blow $1,000. Starts with anything to do with trading. It's not about making profit. It's about the trading. You've got to distance yourself from making profit. If you're counting your profit every day, every week, you're not going to make it as a trader because you're too concerned about making profit. You have to, and it's not easy by any means, but you have to distance your thinking completely from the money so you can concentrate on the trading, the strategy, and making that work. Because every good trader will tell you the same thing. It's your mindset, our human emotions that make trading hard. Trading itself isn't particularly hard. In theory, I'm talking about. In practice, it's bloody hard. But that's because our human emotions get in the way. And if you're emotionally attached to your money, like I was saying, and you're thinking about the dollar profit all the time, that's you being too emotionally attached to your money. And if you are too emotionally attached to your money, you don't make the correct trading decisions. This is as relevant using EAs as it is with manual trading, but maybe not quite. With manual trading, you can let your emotions get in the way all the time. With EA trading, in theory, it should be easier because the EA is doing it all. It doesn't have emotions. But we, as emotional creatures, we can still jump in there, change the settings, move a stop loss, change the risk setting one week, put it back the next week. All of those things totally stuff up the average result that Trend Trader is going to have. And that's just us putting ourselves in the way as well.
The point that I was trying to put across there is with that, whatever it is, I think it's cost you $5,000 to buy the thing, but that gives you a 10% drawdown. That's the only thing I'm worried about, is drawdown, not the profit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really good for that, but and I know where you're at, so it's fine for you, Barry. But for somebody else that may not be too certain of their consistent trading abilities, whether it's manual or EA, it doesn't matter. You wouldn't want to start with that one. Although it's got the better drawdown, it's also more expensive. So, start with something, a smaller live account or a little tiny prop account until you know you're being consistent, and then you can go in with more money or a bigger, more expensive prop account, whatever you like. But you need to be certain of your profitability before you go putting too much money into it.
The one that you've got running now, though, Led, is for the 10%. That's the only thing that concerns me is drawdown. So, Trend Trader is as safe as a brick with a 10% drawdown.
Yeah, more drawdown makes everything easier with trading.
Yeah.
But yeah, So you're right about that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's the only thing that ever concerns me is drawdown. As long as, like 5% is pretty tight, 10%, well, I don't know, would you risk a 1% trade then, or just still sticking at your half a
If you,
percent?
well, that's the thing, Barry. If you're risking 0.5% per trade on a prop account that allows 5% drawdown, and then you go and risk 1% on a prop account that allows 10% drawdown, it's exactly the same.
What I'm saying then, Les, is still to leave it at 0.5%, leave the settings
Yeah.
exactly the same, but you've got that 10% drawdown, you know, for the,
That's how you would do it. Yes.
yeah, exactly. Don't increase the risk, but you've got that advantage of that other 5%. That's what I mean, Les, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Les, got a few little questions.
Good.
So I've finally got to loading up TT Plus today. But so will that so you put the new parameters like stop losses and take profits and profit locks. Will that then manage open trades to those new settings?
Yes. So
Yes,
you mean,
yeah, okay.
you mean trades you already have open?
Yep.
Okay. If you've already got a trade open and you put the new version on and you change all the take profits and stop losses and all of that, it's still going to leave the take profit and the stop loss where it was previously, but the new profit lock settings will kick in when they kick in.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Also, the Word document you had just had up, was that based on 3 pairs per trade?
They were based off 5, but then a couple of the other little pictures of the graphs I sent through, I just quickly did them, and I did them on 3.
Yeah.
And the results were exactly the same though.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I know on NAS 100 and US 30, you get exactly the same results with 3 or 5, meaning you never have more than 3 open at once anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What else did I have? It's probably just a bit of useless information maybe, but I when I loaded up the Trend Trader Plus, and then I trying to put it on the charts that are already there, it won't pick it up. But you just got to X out of the chart that's showing, because I saved it to a default template. So to get that template on the chart, just X out of the chart, reload the chart, and then it's fine. It goes back on there.
Yeah, you can X out of the chart and bring the chart back on, or you can just put your cursor on the chart, right click, and go down to templates and load template, and that'll just overwrite the template that you already have on there as well.
Oh, okay. Yep. Righto. Didn't know that one. Yeah. I also noticed in your past videos you've said double click and drag on, but I find I just double click on the navigator and it loads it up.
Yeah, that's all right if you've only got one chart up there. If you've got a whole heap of charts up, it just tries to put the template onto the same chart all the time. Or you can also just, as long as you highlight the chart you want it to go onto, and then sometimes you can double click depending on your setup, or you can right click and attach to chart.
Yeah, that's what I found.
One more thing I wanted to mention while we're here, because everybody's been asking me, it's like the 3 time frame trends in the top right hand corner, and also the lot size and risk setting in the other side, the left side and the right side.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
All the pretty writing. That won't update if the markets are closed. So if you put the new version onto a blank chart, it's not going to show those features until the market opens tomorrow. If you put it onto a chart to overwrite the older version of Trend Trader, that writing will stay there, but it will be Friday afternoon's info. It won't update until tomorrow when the market opens. And that's simply because I've designed that EA to regularly update every time the broker sends new information through, so that it's 100% accurate all the time, except on the weekends when it's not accurate at all, because you're not getting any, when the markets are closed, you're not getting any new information pushed through from the broker. So it's not going to update until it gets the next little tick of info through. Other than that, though, when the markets are open, it's updating, more than once a second.
Just another
Right.
thought I had was, what do people think about posting their results, maybe in Telegram or something, end of each month?
Yeah,
Just for-
everyone feel free to post results for sure. Whenever anybody, posts results or sends results to me, I try to put them across into the info and results channel as well. But in our community channel, we can definitely share results, do whatever you like in there. Really, it's an open forum, no censorship.
It'd be nice to see it once, maybe, I don't know, end of each month.
Yeah, just whenever, doesn't really
Just-
matter.
Loss or gain, or maybe a few notes on what you thought or something. Just saw
Yeah, for
saw
sure.
good
Well,
information
that's sort of-
shared.
That's sort of what that community chat's for, so we can all sort of lean on each other's experiences, whatever. Make sure we
Yeah.
all get there.
Yes,
right.
on the PAM account, are we just going to have to sit tight and wait for those long-term US 30 trades to pay out?
Yeah, I've been a bit slack on that. Sorry, Rod. I've been concentrating on other stuff too much just lately. So, but basically, yeah. But hopefully, we'll come good there at some stage, though.
Right, because they've been going for a fair while, those two, haven't they? A buy and a sell.
Yeah, especially the buy one.
Yeah. Right.
Any more
Okay.
questions, guys? Because I know Len wants to talk about something different. He's not a trader.
Well,
Just quickly, Len. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, where you go.
Just a quick question on the pound USD. The start time is 0031. Oh no, 0030.
Yeah.
What do I put in the box? A 1 or a 3? Because if I put 3, then
You'll put 0 in for the start hour
yeah.
and 30 in for the start minute.
Okay, cool. But it won't accept 30, will it?
Yes, it will.
Oh,
It won't accept 03, but it will accept 30.
okay. Thank you. So that's the start time, 30.
Yes, 0
Yeah,
hours,
beautiful.
30 minutes.
Yep. Cool. Thank you.
We're going to have a chat on the crypto family, Les.
Yes, I just wanted to, that's what I was talking about with Len. But so is there any more trading questions? Because then I'll just stop the recording so that I can share that in our group and then we can talk about that. Going once, going twice, and